My husband, David, is asleep next to me, snoring softly. Our linked iPad on my nightstand just lit up with a text message from him. It reads, "I miss your warmth. The dragon is sleeping soundly. Can't wait to be back in the nest." An MY name is Sarah. And for the last 2 years, the dragon has been his secret, affectionate nickname for me. NTHE, air in my lungs turned to ice. My first thought was that I was hallucinating. I picked up the iPad, my hand shaking. The message was real, sent from his phone moments ago. But his phone was on his nightstand, locked and charging, and he was deeply asleep. It was impossible. Then it hit me. Scheduled messages. He was pre-writing these love notes to his affair partner while lying next to me. NFOR 6 years. David had been my rock. We had that storybook romance. Met in a coffee shop, fell in love over old movies, and built a life that was the envy of our friends. The last 2 years, however, had been hard. I went through a brutal bout of depression after my mother's death, and I know I wasn't easy to live with. I became withdrawn, irritable. I was a dragon, breathing fire at anyone who came too close. NHE was the one who suggested therapy. He found her for me. Dr. Anya Reed. She was brilliant, empathetic, and she helped me piece myself back together. She'd always say, "David is a saint for supporting you through this, Sarah. You're a lucky woman." She praised our marriage and gave me the tools to be a better partner. I thought she had saved us. Now I see she was just scouting the terrain before she burned it all down. NTHE rage that followed was a physical force. This wasn't just a betrayal, this was a conspiracy. My therapist, the woman I had confided my deepest fears and insecurities to, was sleeping with my husband. She had a front row seat to my pain, my struggles, my every vulnerability. She knew exactly which cracks in our foundation to exploit. And he had let her. He had sat in our home, listening to me rave about how much Anya was helping me, all while knowing he was sleeping with her. I needed proof. I remembered something from a few months back. After our car was broken into, I'd insisted we install a GPS tracker for security. It fed its location to an app on my phone I never checked. Until now, I opened the app. His car, which was supposed to be in our garage, showed its last location from earlier that evening, at a high-end apartment complex downtown. A place he had no reason to be. He'd told me he was working late. I crept out of bed, dressed in the dark, and drove. I parked across the street from the address, my heart pounding. The app showed the car was still in the building's underground garage. I waited for what felt like an eternity. Just before dawn, a taxi pulled up to the main entrance. A woman got out. It was Anya. She looked up, directly at a corner apartment on the 5th floor, blew a kiss, and walked away. NTHE nest had been found. And the dragon was wide awake. An update 1. It's been a month since that night. A month of living a double life that would make my husband's deception look like child's play. I never confronted him or her. Instead, I've become the perfect wife and the perfect patient. I go to my weekly sessions with Dr. Reed, and the experience is surreal. I sit on her plush couch, surrounded by books on ethics, and I talk about my progress. I tell her how David and I are reconnecting, using the very techniques she taught me to lie to her face. She laps it up, a smug, satisfied look in her eyes, telling me how proud she is. I have to physically bite my tongue to keep from asking her if she critiques my husband's performance in bed with the same professional detachment. At home, I am the wife David has been missing. I'm affectionate, I suggest date nights, I listen to his stories about work with a serene smile. He is so relieved. He thinks his affair is his secret reward for enduring his difficult, dragon-like wife. He has no idea that every touch is a calculated move in a game he doesn't even know he's playing. And I hired a PI. The apartment is leased in Anya's name. David co-signed as a financial guarantor. The PI has photos of them together, looking like a real couple. Grocery shopping, walking in the park, kissing on their balcony, and then I found the ultimate weapon. Anya is publishing a book, a self-help guide for women. The title makes me want to vomit. Healing the Scars, a guide to reclaiming your life after marital betrayal. She's having a book launch party next month at a chic downtown hotel. A public event with a reading and a Q&A. She will be on a stage, under a spotlight, positioning herself as a guru of empathy and recovery. The hypocrisy is so staggering, so beautifully poetic, that it presented me with the perfect stage for my final act. I'm no longer just gathering evidence for a divorce. I'm preparing a script. Update 2 tomorrow is the book launch. My dress is laid out. A sharp, tailored black suit. War paint. I have a leather-bound portfolio next to it, holding my ammunition. Inside are high-resolution photos of David and Anya together. I have copies of the apartment lease with both their names. I have credit card statements showing his purchases for their love nest, furniture, fine wine, lingerie that was not for me. And I have the crown jewel. My lawyer helped me subpoena the session notes Anya was legally required to keep. In her own handwriting, she documents my deepest insecurities. And on the back of one page, scribbled upside down, is a note. Remind D, Dragon's fire is cold now. The nest is warm. She was taking notes on her affair during my therapy sessions. It's the kind of damning evidence that doesn't just end a career, it obliterates it. NMY plan is simple. I won't cause a scene. I will wait for the Q&A, stand up calmly, and get the microphone. I will introduce myself as a long-term patient of Dr. Reed's and praise her work. Then I will ask her a question. NMY question will be this. Dr. Reed, in your book you talk about professional boundaries. As a hypothetical, what would your advice be to a woman who discovered her therapist wasn't just counseling her, but was also sleeping with her husband, using the intimate details of her sessions to manipulate them both? And what would you call a professional who refers to their patient as the dragon in notes about their affair? And I have copies of the evidence in sealed envelopes for the publisher, the head of the state licensing board, who I invited as my personal guest, and any journalists in the room. David will be there, in the front row, her biggest supporter, thinking he's celebrating his lover's success. He has no idea he's attending his own public execution. NTHE final chapter, NTHE event, was exactly as pretentious as I'd imagined. Soft lighting, quiet jazz, people sipping champagne. Anya was radiant on stage, reading passages from her disgusting book with a voice full of practiced sincerity. David watched her from the front row, his eyes shining with adoration. NTHE Q&A began. When the microphone came to me, my heart was a cold, heavy stone. I followed my script perfectly. I introduced myself, praised her work. Then I asked my question. NTHE effect was instantaneous. Anya's face went completely white. The professional mask dissolved, revealing the panicked fraud underneath. She stammered, speechless. David's adoring smile froze, then collapsed as he stared at me, comprehension dawning in his eyes like a slow, horrifying sunrise. I didn't wait for an answer. I calmly stated this wasn't a hypothetical, and walked to the stage, placing the portfolio on her lectern. I handed the other envelopes to the appropriate people. Then I turned, looked directly at David and said, "The dragon is awake now." I walked out of the ballroom, leaving a mushroom cloud of ruin behind me. NBUT, that's not the twist. Revenge is simple. The truth was far more complex. A week later, a shattered David came to our house. I was expecting rage or excuses. Instead, he handed me his phone and a folder of documents. He had been a fool and a cheat, he said, but he hadn't been a willing co-conspirator. He had been a patient too. NHE showed me everything. Anya had been counseling him individually for months before I started seeing her, something she'd never disclosed. She had systematically convinced him that my depression was a permanent, personality-altering condition. She told him I was manipulative, that I no longer loved him, and that I was secretly preparing to leave him. She used her professional authority to pathologize my grief. NTHE affair, she had told him, was a therapeutic transgression, a radical form of treatment to help him reclaim his confidence so he could eventually handle my departure. The secret apartment, the coded texts. It was all part of her twisted therapy. She had seduced a vulnerable man by weaponizing his wife's own pain against them both. She hadn't just found the cracks in our marriage, She had created them, then set up a clinic inside. NMY victory felt instantly hollow. I had set out to destroy a simple affair. Instead, I discovered I was just one corner of a predatory triangle orchestrated by a master manipulator. My husband's betrayal is unforgivable. But the truth is, the woman I hired to save my marriage didn't just sleep with my husband. She systematically dismantled him first, using my own grief as her primary tool. I burned down the nest, but I'm left wondering if the true monster ever really set foot inside it. NIF. You're interested in stories like this? Please like, comment, and subscribe.